Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Grue Room. Today on the Grue Room, we got a very good guest, Amber Martinez, and she's in numerous television shows. She's in films, and there she is. You have to hit the request to go live button, and as soon as you hit that, we'll be able to go live. There we go. Okay. Just waiting for the internet to push us through, and we should be good. Because, the internet could be slow at times.
Okay, it's working! Yeah!
How's it going?
I'm like, what's going on with this thing? It was so strange. I was like, what? I couldn't explain it. It was just like not working. It's like, why? Like, I don't even know why. I have no idea.
Trust me, this thing sometimes could be the biggest pain. I just had a guest on not too long ago, like about an hour ago, and I was muted and I couldn't get out of mute mode, and I had to shut my phone down and turn it on, and somehow it muted me.
Well, you were muted from my end when I first saw it, and your mouth was moving, and then I'm like, what is he saying? And then I just pushed the button, and I'm like, please work. And then I'm like, success! So I was really happy.
I don't know what's wrong with that button. It mutes me, and then I have to shut the phone off and turn it on, and it just start happening, because I've been doing this show for I think 20 something, like this is like the 30th one that I've done now, I think, and
that's a lot.
And
I love your horror memorabilia in the background. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Is someone getting murdered? And I just did you just shoot a scene in a low budget horror film? And I'm like, what's going on here? Like, you're on set, you're in the back, like, what?
No, something like that. I'm just...
You got surprises, there's going to be like a guest appearance I don't know about, Like, what is
this? I'm just like a big horror fan, and my site at first was a horror site, and me and my friend ran it, and it was strictly horror, but we wanted to add different things besides horror, because we did get the horror crowd, and the horror fans are such a loyal fan base that
they are. I've done some horror films. I know. The first horror film I did was like a non-union film. It's like not even listed on IMDb. And I literally just it was literally just a cameo where I'm like running terrified across the screen. And there's like all these GIFs everywhere where I'm just like running with a terrified face. And I'm like, why is this scene getting so much coverage? Like, I didn't even have lines. Like, it's not even a union budget. Like, it was like way before I was like, and people just can't get enough of my face in the scene. I'm just like, so, well, I don't know.
Oh my God, it's so fun.
I'm like, great, thanks.
Yeah, because this show that I do on here now, it's still for my horror site, but we're like adding stuff now. Like we're adding regular films and actors and rock stars, WWE wrestlers. So yeah.
That's awesome. You got like a whole plethora of guests. You're like, we'll just hit every market, It's good to do a monopoly. You're monopolizing on the market.
Right, exactly. and to make it seem like I'm not pushing the horror fans off or anything. Like, whenever I have guests on, I always ask them like what horror movies that they like, so that the horror fans could feel, still feels like I'm talking to people about horror.
Well, I have been in horror films before too, so it's good. You have a good range with me. I've encompassed a lot of genres.
Okay. I wanted to ask, like, I read that you lived in like a very small town, and how how was that?
I'm from it's true, it's very small. It's like very, very small. In Kansas. Yeah.
And
kind of like Superman, actually, like that
oh my
small
God,
of a town, you know, like yeah. And then people are like, but you know, I mean, maybe he's a distant relative, and I just don't know it, you know. And we're like, secretly, there's some complex universe where we're like, you know, related to each other. We're like, I think it's great though. Like, whoever had that idea was amazing, because like people from small towns like me, we don't have anything to do. We need imaginary figures to look up to. You know, there's hardly any working actors that come from Kansas. Like, there's a bunch of us, but you know, like a lot of us are not really like well known. But Christy Alley's from Kansas, and I think she's awesome.
Okay. I didn't know she was from there. Okay.
Yeah. And you got like, you know, like the band Kansas. And you know, like a few other people.
And
me.
And you, yeah.
Proud Kansian.
So what made you decide to take that leap and move to the City of Angels?
Oh my goodness. So I've been acting and dancing and singing like my whole life. I started singing when I was 7. My grandma is like she was an opera singer, and she used to travel to like St. Petersburg and everything, so she taught me how to sing. And so I grew up learning how to like play the piano and how to compose music and sing that way. And I started learning dancing when I was like 3 years old. So I do jazz, tap, ballet, salsa, merengue, la pachanga, ballroom dancing. So, and I do the tango too. So I just grew up learning like all these. Yeah, my family was like really Renaissance based with my raising, apparently. You know? And so I grew up like watching all these movies, but my mom is like a reverend, so I wasn't really allowed to watch scary movies or horror films unless like with my dad and my grandpa behind my mom's back, and she didn't know about it, which I did do a lot. So, but when I used to watch, like, my mom wouldn't let me watch like anything, you know, like that. So when I got my sneak away time, that was cool. I got to watch the horror films. But when I didn't get my sneak away time, I used to be like obsessed with Julie Andrews. Like I told my mom that I was gonna be like Julie Andrews when I grew up, and my mom was like, "Okay, honey," you know. And I was like, "No." So she was like my driving Dame Julie Andrews. It was my driving force to become an actress. I watched The Sound of Music, I think like over 100 times. It was like crazy. And I remember that, like, I told my mom I wanted to be an actress, and she's like, "Who do you want to be like?" And I was like, "Dame Julie Andrews." And she was like, "What?" Like, out of all the actors, you want to be Julie Andrews? And I was like, "Yes." And one day, my mom came home from like giving a sermon, because she's a reverend. And I came out in the living room in like a full, like, sewn up, hand sewed that I made nun outfit. And my mom was like, "What are you doing?" And then she started laughing, and then I was like, "I'm a performer." And my mom was like, "Okay." And I started performing like the Maria song from Sound of Music, and my mom was like, "What?" And she was so impressed. She was like, "Oh my God, maybe you should be an actress," you know. And she was really happy until she like came in my bedroom later that night and then discovered that like to make my nun outfit, I had cut up all my bed sheets and sewed them together. So like I had no bed sheets anymore. I'm like, "Oh, it's okay, Mom. I have my comforter." You know? And she was so mad because like my bed sheets had now become a newer and improved Julie Andrews nun outfit. You know? So it was like, what? And then the outfits, and so she she decided she had to take me then to this amazing store called Joann Fabrics.
Okay.
It is located next to a Kmart because in Kansas, that is like the high fashion. You know? So, at the time, and that and they had like a dress bar.
I remember that
store. So she discovered she had to start taking Joann Fabrics to like buy all my fabrics so I wouldn't like cut up the bed sheets and the pillowcases and the blankets that went on the couch to make all my custom outfits for my own movies that I was making. Yeah, so that's where I got my love for acting. And my got her, you know, tip to start buying me fabric from the fabric store. But, yeah. I know it's a bizarre story. But it's like, yeah, I was I have another funny childhood story if you want to hear it. So after the nun situation and her getting the hint to buy me fabric from the Joann Fabric store, I decided I was going to repaint my bedroom to like assist her in my bedroom remodeling because I told her that I wanted my bedroom walls painted blue, and she was like, no, but we should do them pink because you're a girl. And I'm like, but I don't like pink. And I had like this big argument with her. So I decided I was gonna like walk myself like multiple miles down the road to like the little like store, like the little general store, and I was gonna buy some blue paint. And I came home, and my mom came home, and I was like, oh, Mom, I'm just helping. And, like, my entire bedroom was covered in blue paint, and she had to, like, replace everything, and she was so mad. And I was putting, like, handprint walls, and I was like, no, it's artistic. And I was like, Mom, it's like that, what's that guy's name? That one guy, Jackson Pollock. And I was trying to convince my mom that my bedroom was, like, a new Jackson Pollock. Like, I don't know where I got this stuff, but, like, that's where... Like, I just used to say the most random things. Like, I would be inspired by anything.
No.
So, those are my funny artistic moments growing up as a child.
Nice. That one thing I wanted to ask you, like, when you're on set for a TV series or movie, like, how are call times like? Because I've heard like you could go like in the middle of the night or early in the morning and just like 10 or 12 hours. And...
Yeah. Yeah. I have very strange call times sometimes. I've also had really good luck with last minute bookings too sometimes. Like, so when I'll have call times at like 6 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, 1:10 a.m., 12:30 in the morning, 11:45 at night to 9:30 at night the next day. Like, you know, it depends. Most times when I'm shooting like a film, it's like 16 to 18 hour days. And when I'm shooting a TV show, sometimes it's like, you know, 12 to 13 hour days. Sometimes they go really fast, and it's only like if I do like if I'm just a day player and I do like a couple lines in the show, it'll be like 8 or 9 hours, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do with myself for the rest of the day because I used to be working for 12 to 18 hours a day. That when I get sleep, like I feel like something's off. Like I haven't, you know, like And I just shot another television show, actually, opposite from the one we had previously discussed that I can't mention from the NDA, but I shot a second one on Monday. So I just shot a second show, so 2 shows in the last week. And this one on Monday was, it's owned by Disney, but it's for Fox.
Okay, sweet. Sweet, that's awesome.
Yeah, I like when I have like 3 a.m. call times because I'm like a full day person. So I'll show up on set and I'll be like, "Good morning, everyone," with like my coffee. And then like it's so funny. You can tell like who's a morning person and who isn't a morning person because the non-morning people, they want to be like professional, so they just will not talk for like multiple hours. And then the really morning people will just be like chatting it up over like bagels with me and stuff, and I'll just be like da 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 da, you know, like telling jokes with the makeup artist and the hairstylist. They're like amazing. That's like one of my favorite things to do on set. Like I'm like, ooh, what's the hot goss? I want to hear.
Nice. So what drives you to act, and what do you like best about acting?
What drives me to act is because like I have a very deep passion for it. I've been doing it like my whole life. Well, I've been dancing and singing, but I started being on television in like when I was like around 15 years old, and I'm a very young looking older actress. My first, actually I think it's broadcasted everywhere now, because like I recently had there was like some TV contestant using my name, and they so my publicist was like, we have to release like the first date you were on television so people don't get you confused with this person. I was like, oh. So the first date I was on television, guys, was in 1998.
Really? Wow, okay.
I know, I aged very nicely.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, somebody's asking, what's my favorite movie? Oh, so my favorite movie of all time is The Princess
I love that movie. Nice. The Eighth Wonder of the World, Andre the Giant.
I know, right? I don't think that means what you think it means. But my favorite part anymore is when Andre and Giant, like when the guy's like, no more rhyming now, I mean it. And Andre the Giant's like, anybody got a peanut?
he was so cool though.
Or the other ones where he gets like very angry and he's like, hello, my name is Enrico Mandoyo. You killed my father. Prepare to die. But like, in not a feminine way, like in a man way. Like I can't do the facial the same way because it's like a man face. So it just sounds like ridiculous coming out of me. But like, I love that movie. Nice. I cannot.
Nice. Like, that is such an awesome movie. I love it. I know.
I feel like I'd be offended if they remade it. Like, please don't remake it. Exactly. It's perfect the way it is.
Exactly. That definitely is one of the films that should be left. Like, don't remake it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, leave it the way it is. Like, like Mel Brooks. Leave us alone, Mel Brooks. We love your films. Nobody remake Mel Brooks films because they're perfect.
And I also heard that you like cosplay. Like, what's your best kind of cosplay?
I love cosplay.
Like what kind?
I'm such a nerd. I am. My ex that I was with for like almost 7 years, he was a video game developer.
Oh, really? Wow.
Like a big, I play video games like all the time, and like, yeah, like we used to dress up and go to the Renaissance Festival, but like I would like wear wigs and disguise myself so nobody would recognize me, so I could still have fun. And so 2 years ago, when there was a Halloween and not this previous one, I was Hela from Thor Ragnarok. Okay. So I had like a whole bodysuit custom made for me, and it was like made from latex, and I had like green latex with like the backs, and I had the cape and everything, and I slicked my hair back, and it was like all wet, and I had my friend that's a makeup artist come over, and she like shaded my face, and it looked like exactly like Kate Blanchett as Hela. And I had like the swords to come out of my hands too. It was cool. I'm like, yes, I'm living this. And the year before that, I was Celine from Underworld, and I had like a black latex bodysuit with like the corset, and I had like a wig that was all like, and I have blue contacts.
That's so awesome! I love it. Nice.
I used to do Sailor Moon when I was like younger because I was like a big She's one of my favorite anime comics. Do you know who Sailor Moon is? She's like, I
did hear of that. Like I never saw it.
No, it's okay.
I actually did. I did hear of that. Like I never watched it.
I used to love that cartoon so much growing up that like I knew the theme song for the show.
Nice. So what games do you like? You say you love playing video games. Like, do you have like a PlayStation, an Xbox?
I have a PlayStation and an Xbox because I'm greedy. I'm greedy like that.
Hey, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I love playing Oblivion and Perfect Dark Zero, and I like playing like first-player fantasy games like Final Fantasy VII. Like I love Final Fantasy series. Yeah, I love a BioShock and Oblivion. I play Call of Duty. Halo, traditional Halo. Oh, I have every single Assassin's Creed.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I'm actually, one of my upcoming projects, and I'm actually being the main character and the voice in a video game for PlayStation.
That's so awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice job. Nice job.
I can you want to hear some sneak preview? I talked to the producer and the developer of the project that's doing it, and he's the head in charge, and he said, I can talk about it a little bit. Did you want some exclusive insight?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that was like, sneaky wink. Okay, so it's gonna be like, it's gonna be really cool. You can play it in first-person player where you're like actually seeing the shooting, or it can be in story, which is really neat. And it's about like a cop that hunts down bad cops and criminals. So, like, I play the main cop, that's the detective, and I work with, like, the good police force, and we go around and we try to find, like, dirty cops and criminals, and, like, it's in, like, a city, and there's, like, a bunch of gang violence and stuff, so we, like, go and investigate. It's, like, a detective game, and, like, I play the female lead, and so far, I'm signed on, and, the project right now is like he has to send in the documents to be signed off on SAG-AFTRA. So excited about that. And then the guy that's gonna be that's set to be the male lead, he's actually a super famous rapper in Dubai and Saudi Arabia and stuff. And so he's like expressive in his art, and like there's not a lot of that going around that's like acceptable, you know. So he's like a breakout, creative artist, and he's gonna play the male lead in the video game. So they're gonna do like all the modeling, and I'm gonna go into the studio and get like my body modeled and do like the 3D tracking bodysuit, and we're gonna do like all these voiceovers and stuff. So it's gonna be my voice that you hear with the character. Sorry, my voice is a little like hoarse from being on set a couple days, so I'm like losing talking so much, like for like 48 hours, 37 hours. So it's going to be really neat. You guys are going to like it. It has like multiple layers. I think there's like 37 levels. Like it just, and hopefully it does really well. We'll make more like a series. So I'm excited.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah. And we'll be going to like all the video game conventions and Comic Cons and all that stuff. And we're also talking about doing a movie if the numbers sell really good for the video game. So.
Okay, that is so awesome.
I'm excited about that.
I like that. Okay.
So yeah, I'm a big nerd. I love cosplay, love video games.
Nice. That's awesome. Like, how did you find out and get booked for the big TV series Wanda Vision?
Wanda Vision. Yes! It was like a dream come true. So I'll tell you, I didn't even know I was working on it at first. They gave me all these code names, and I had no idea what the heck I was booked for. Like, I'm not joking. It was so secretive. I got literally, this is the sequence of events. I was sitting at home playing Oblivion. I really was. And then, like, I get a message on my phone at 10 o'clock at night, and they're like, hey, Amber, are you available to go get a COVID test tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, I am. Why? Oh, well, we want to book you on this show, but we need you to go and get a COVID test first to see if you can, go to work. And I was like, okay. So I went and got the COVID test and got the whole, monkey exam with the swab up my nose and stuff. And I'm like, okay. And so I get back the next day, and they're like, congratulations, you're cleared for work. And I was like, obviously I don't have COVID. Like I've been like obsessively quarantining like this entire time basically, except for when I'm working. So they're like, great, congratulations, you've been cleared for work. So you've been booked on, can't mention the code name. And I'm like, okay, so I get this code name, and I'm like, great, what am I doing? And they're like, oh, well, we're booking you as a circus hula hoop performer. And I'm like, wow, one of my carny skills that I never get to use. And I'm like, this is exciting. And I'm like, I wonder who booked me to perform a circus act. Because it's like one of those skills that you know how to do, that you learn, that you don't think will ever be used. And you're like, and then you get a message one day, and you're like, oh my God, someone's going to use me for my random skill. Like, you know. And so I'm like, okay, so I get this address, and I'm like driving, right? It's like, you know, 5:30 in the morning. And I'm like driving, and I start approaching it, and I'm like, I see these signs, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the Disneyland Ranch. And so I start freaking out, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm working for Disney. And I'm like, oh my God, me, this little girl from Kansas, is working for Disney. And I start freaking out. And I'm like, so my excitement's building, I'm like, holy crap, it's Disney. Oh my God, I wonder what show it is, you know? Like, I've never heard of this code name. Is this a new show? And then I Googled it really quick, like, before I went into, like, the security entrance. And I'm like, oh, it's not coming up. I don't know what this is, you know? And I'm like, okay. So then I go in, and, like, and then I see, it's like, I go in, and they're like, oh, hi. And then they have the code name on the posters. And they're like, oh, hey, you know, so we're going to, what's your name? Oh, yeah, okay. So you're booked as one of the circus acts as the circus hula hoop performer. Okay, well, we need you to go to this side because we're shooting your scenes in this area. I was like, okay. So I get my hoop out, and I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, I start practicing before I even get my hair and my makeup done. I'm like, oh, this has got to be good. It's for Disney, you know? And so I'm practicing all my legit circus skills. It's not like I'm like, ooh, I'm doing hula hoop, you know? It's like legit circus skills. So I'm like practicing all my tricks over my head, under my thing, on my arms, like on my leg, like doing back bends, like, you know, I'm like, no, you know. And I'm like, I've been waiting over 20 years to do this freaky circus act, you know. Like, I'm finally gonna do it. It's for Disney. It's amazing. And so I get my hair set, and they put the curlers in, right? And then I go to the makeup. I go and I get my, well, no, I went to the wardrobe, and they put me in this wardrobe, and I'm like, I get to be this sexy circus performer. I'm like in this hot little tight thing with like gold tasseled fringe off, and I had like a superhero helmet, like it was cool, and I was like, oh my God, this is getting better. And then so I went over to the makeup, my makeup artist tent to do my makeup, and she's like, oh, can you take the helmet off first? I have to do your makeup. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So she's doing your makeup. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm working for Disney. I'm like, and I'm like, but I have no idea what I'm doing here. She's like, oh, you don't know? She's like, oh, you're booked for Wanda Vision. And I was like, what? Shut the front door. I was like,
wow, that's how you found out.
Yeah, I'm like, shut the front door. And she's like, oh yeah, we just don't tell anyone. So like, you know, because it's secret until it's released. I was like, oh, okay. So I was so excited. And then I was getting like my makeup done, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the best day ever, best day ever, best day ever. So I got my hair and my makeup done, and the makeup artist was like, oh my God, you look exactly like Linda Carter, like from Wonder Woman. And I'm like, what, really? Because like I couldn't see with my face or my costume, because like they put you in it, and then like you don't have a chance to see yourself, so you never know what you look like. You know what I mean? Sometimes you may get like the chance to like look at yourself, but like usually they're in front of you, and they're like in front of your face like the whole time, and then you're like, okay. Or they're like, go to craft services and you have breakfast. Oh, your call time isn't like, you know, and you're like chillaxing. And then I got on set, and like as I was walking on set, like everybody was like, oh my God. And then I'm like, why is everyone staring, you know? And so then I went off to the side and I'm like, I'm still, you know, practicing, like obsessively practicing now because I'm like, oh my God, this has to be like the most amazing circus act I've ever performed in my life. And so I practiced for a few more hours before it was my time to go. And then I went on set and everybody was really lovely to work with. And there was like 4 cameras going at the same time. And the director was so lovely. I'd love to work with him again. Everybody was so nice. When I was so nervous though when I was doing it, but I was like performing my entire Hardad or HR dad. I don't know. Nice to meet you. So I was like, so I was freaking out the whole inside the whole time. I was scared. I was nervous, but I wasn't letting that show, you know, because I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. I was booked by Marvel on Disney Plus on Wanda Vision. This has got to be like, this performance has got to be like on point, you know? And so I was so nervous, but the whole time, but I didn't let my face show that I was nervous, you know, because you can't do that when you're an actor. And I ended and I was done, and I did my circus act over and over again, like multiple times for like a while, you know. And then I did different variations of it in different acts and like several different performances. And then that way, you know, if they wanted to use some parts, they'd use that part, or like use the whole thing, they'd, you know, and give them different options. So I was like, and I'm like, this is just the best. And then I was like, when I was done, it was silent for a second. And I'm like, oh my God, did I suck? Like, you know, in my mind, I got self-conscious, you know, and everyone started applauding, like the entire cast and crew and everybody started like applauding. And then I was like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, I did a great job. Yeah. And so that was like one of the only times I've ever been booked for one of my special skills that like hardly anyone else does. Like, and I was like really, really, really excited. Okay. Oh, somebody can't hear my voice. I don't know. Do you have it? It says no voice. Do you have it? Try doing the unmute button, or maybe they didn't, like, is there, maybe they need to turn the volume up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Me, right?
And you hear me, I'm not muted again, right?
Yeah, no. So then when I was done, like the entire cast and crew was like applauding and clapping for me. Like there was like 37 people there, and I was like, oh, thank God it was good. And I felt like relieved, and I was like laughing nervously and smiling, and I was like, oh, thank you, thank you. And when as I was walking out the set, they're like 15 people were like, no, did anyone tell you you look exactly like Linda Carter from Wonder Woman? Like, it is uncanny how much you look like Wonder Woman. And I was like, I'm like, thank you so much. I'm like, I know everybody's saying that. I'm like, that is like a dream of mine because I always wanted to play Wonder Woman, but like, you know, that's Gal Gadot's job. So, where are you come from? Oh, I'm from Kansas. So like, I love answering people's questions. This is fun. So I always wanted to play Wonder Woman, so it was a double dream for me. But I'm like, Wonder Woman isn't a Marvel comic character though, but Power Princess is, and I would play Power Princess in a heartbeat. Okay. So do you know who Power Princess is?
I don't know. You have to tell me.
She's like kind of like an Amazonian woman too, but like different, and she has like an invisible shield, and she's like really like a crime fighter, and she has like a ton of power. It's just super cool.
Nice.
I love her, but I think my two options if I was ever to get booked to be like the lead actor in a Marvel series or a Marvel movie, I would want to be either Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, detective by day, superhero by night. Ooh. who doesn't want to fight crime by day and is in a sneaky way, and then, you know, like whoops in bed at night as Spider-Woman. That'd be awesome. Or Power Princess, because she's just as cool. I would also be
nice. I like that.
I even have a copy from 1978 because I love comics of an original Spider-Woman.
Oh, that is so cool! Wow.
Yeah. She's fighting an evil character who has possessed the Sword of Excalibur.
She's
I know. She got awesome.
You know what?
She's got like the wings underneath. She's got like armpit wings. Did you see? Like, I don't know why. I think it'd be cooler if she had like a spider cape or something, or like the cape was like floating around her like a spider web. That would be so cool.
Like, I always wondered why they never made any film about her, right?
I know, right? Someone can play her, and she's right here.
There you go.
And she's willing to be a Spider-Woman. So, Jessica Drew. I feel like I would make a really good
All right. Okay.
And then at night I can be salty. You know? Oh, and then I also have an original copy of the West Coast Avengers.
Nice.
Did you know that Wanda's brother Pietro actually goes like crazy and captures them?
I didn't.
And turns evil? See?
Wow.
Bam. I know, but of course they're not going to tell you that. And I got one of the original copies from 1996 of one of my faves,
Doctor Strange. Yeah. Oh, wow.
I know. I'm like one of, like, I like to describe myself as like a sexy nerd.
Here you go.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, nerds can be you too.
Right, exactly. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. You got the comic books, the video games. Wow, that's really cool. I like that. And what did you like most about being on set for that show, Wanda Vision? Like, what was like the most fun? Like, what did you like best?
I think what I liked best was just being chosen out of like everyone to perform on such a great show for Marvel and Disney Plus. Like, it's truly an honor, you know. And for it to be one of my random like skills that I possess is even better, because like I learned that, and it's something like I really love to do, but like no one ever uses it. And then to be booked for it, and to be booked by Disney and Marvel, it made it just extra special. It was like a dream come true. I'm just like, you know, some small town girl from Kansas, and then I'm like, me, this girl from Kansas, like chosen out of like, you know, probably thousands of other people that you know, thousands of people that wanted to always be in a Marvel project. It's like, you know, any part is just amazing for me. So I'm excited. I'm deeply honored just for that part, you know. So that must be such a great feeling, like to be on set for a show like that, because that show is going to be watched like millions and millions and millions of fans. I know. I was thinking, you know, it's strange, just because like a couple days before that, I was like, you know what? One of these days, Mom, mark my words, I'm going to be in a superhero movie or a TV show. You just watch. One of these days, I'm going to be in a superhero movie. And like 2 days later, yeah, right? I was like, thanks, God. That was a hot one. I love it. I was like, what charity should I volunteer in your honor of blessing me with this amazing kick butt opportunity?
Nice.
So yeah.
There were two films that you were in, and there's two people you were on set with, and I want to know if you had a chance to talk with them or interact with them, possibly share a scene with them. You were in a film with Nick Holt and Bei Ling. Bei Ling was Jack B. Nimble.
Nick Holt was with the Nunes.
Nick Holt and Nunes.
He's a lovely person. He's so nice in person. Very, very charming gentleman. He's a pleasure to work with. Yeah. And Bai Ling, I mean, we're in the same movie, but we're not in the same scene, but I've known her for like years. Yeah. And you want to hear a funny experience?
Yeah, I loved her from The Crow.
Yeah, she's a very nice person. She's like, we're both like really wacky, fun people. So every time we're together at like a red carpet event or just like hanging out, or we see each other at like an Oscar event or like an Emmys event or something, like she is just like, we have the best time joking around about stuff. And like our like people were like, they told us our laughs were like contagious because we're just like laughing the whole time and like having like inside jokes and stuff. But so we are in the same movie, but we are not in the same scene.
Okay.
But one of the funny experiences I had with her is it was at the what was it? The Producer's Choice Honors Award, and this is such a funny story. Okay, so we're walking the red carpet, and she like walked the red carpet like right before me. So we were like giggling about that because we were like standing right next to each other. And then she went and walked the red carpet, and then I went and walked the red carpet, and I was like, this is the Producer's Choice Honors Award, and it's being held at the Hard Rock. So I'm going to dress up like totally out of character, and I'm going to like dress up rock style. So I came and I had like these tight leather pants on with like a silk like lizard pattern like tank top blouse, and I had my hair all like teased out. And like when I got in the makeup chair from my friend that was like a makeup artist, I was like, dang, I got a lot of hair. Like it was like, you know. And she was wearing like this bright yellow dress, right? And she was like, oh, she's like, you're dressed super cool. And I'm like, well, it's the Hard Rock. So I was like, I better dress rock and roll, you know? Because it was like, it was like, you know, like not casual, but it was like cocktail attire or like themed kind of like, you know. So I was like, I'm going to go rock and roll as theme because like the Producer's Choice Honors Awards and we're at the Hard Rock. So like, screw it, you know, I'm going to do it. Look, I've never done before, you know. Well, that's not true, actually. I've sang a couple rock songs, and I had a rock band, but I've never done a rock look on a red carpet for a movie show. But I've done a rock look. So back to the story. I guess I dragged. So we're going to. Do I watch WWE? Yeah, I did when I was younger. Oh my gosh. Okay, I do, and I used to like Rowdy Piper.
Nice.
He was cool. And like Paul Hogan. I have a story about that, and I'll circle back to that. But let me finish the one about the story with Bai Ling. So we'll focus on that. But Billy Rock 6223. I will come back to you. Okay. So Bai and I are at this red carpet, and we're giggling, and we like walk the carpet right after each other. And then we like go, and then she goes, and I'm doing like an interview myself, and like I watch her walk off. So like I'm like, okay, and then I walk by, and I'm like, oh, we're sitting at the same table. And then we're right next to each other, and it's like the table that's like right in front of the stage in the center. And we're like, oh, cool. So we're like talking, taking photos together and stuff, catching up on projects. And then like, and she's like, can you take some selfies of me for my Instagram? I'm like, okay, can you take some selfies of me for my Instagram? She's like, okay. And then we actually asked somebody else that we don't even know to take our photo. And it turns out they were like a record label producer. And we had like no idea who they were, you know? It's like, sometimes we're like that. And so they took like a selfie of us, and we're like, oh, this looks great, you know. And then we're watching the award show, and they're like, oh yeah, guys, we have a special performance for everybody. And we're like, ooh, what's this special performance, you know? And we're getting pumped, and Bai and I are like, we can't. What is this gonna be? You know, we're so excited. Who's it gonna be? You know? And I swear to God, okay. So then he's like, Alice Cooper, and we're like, no way! We start freaking out. We're like, Alice Cooper's here. Alice Cooper's here. He comes out, And we're like watching like Alice Cooper, and we're like freaking out, and we're like standing. So we go to the front of the stage, and we're like, you know, rocking out with Alice Cooper, just like totally not even caring. It's like totally not even caring. It's like an award show, and then everybody else is like, we're gonna do it too. So then they all go up, and everybody's like, yeah. And we started this like celebrity and professional entertainment worker, like, you know, like mosh crowd for Alice.
I love Alice.
And then everyone from the event is uploading like all these like photos of Alice Cooper like the next day on their Instagram, and we're all like talking about how we had this fun experience with Alice Cooper. And guess what happened? It turns out the guy hired like a fake Alice Cooper, and then we spent out, like, we had to correct all the posts saying it was a great time watching fake Alice Cooper. And then the guy from the event had to like apologize because he had said it was Alice Cooper and it was actually like an imitator. And so we were all cheering and taking videos and thinking it was actual real life Alice Cooper because he did like identical to him, and it was not. It was like an impersonation. And then we were all like writing all these emails the next day saying how like it was terrible and like in defense of Alice Cooper, like how could you say that was Alice Cooper? That's terrible that you would say that impersonator is him. Like it was so funny. And like I boycotted that guy's event the next 2 years, and I was just like, because like that's not right. Like we all. So that's my funny story where Bai and myself and every other professional person in attendance thought we were watching Alice Cooper, and it wasn't.
Oh my God, that's so crazy.
And the end of that night, I got on leatherandcelebrities.com for my leather pants look, and I was like, all right, The Rock looks good on me. Still got it after my
there
rock band.
Nice.
This is funny. But that's one of my fun shared experiences I've had with Bai over the years.
Okay, sweet. Oh yeah, the wrestling story, right?
Yes. Oh, Billy Rock 6223. Yes. Okay, wrestling story. Where was I? Oh yeah, I loved Rowdy Piper, and Hulk Hogan, and I loved the British Bulldog. I thought they were like so cool, and Andre the Giant. He was awesome too. I am dating myself. And Jake the Snake, because like who doesn't love like a freaking giant python? Like I love animals, and I think snakes are super cool too, and they're actually really nice animals unless they're provoked, just like any other animal. And technically they're not a mammal, so like, you know, I'm not going to get into that nerdiness, but yes, I've watched WWE. And a funny story I have growing up is one of my neighbors, his name was Kyle, and his brother's name was Carl. So they were like the only neighbors for a while, you know, in a small area. And they like they were so obsessed with WWE that did you ever go to the event to see it live? Yes, I have. Billy, I would love to finish the story, and then I will go back to the experience where I saw it live. I love you, Billy. Wow. Okay. They were so obsessed with like WWE that we had like the dolls, the plushies that they used to make. And they built out like a wooden, like they made their dad build out like a wooden planked stadium so they could make like fake WWE fights where they would dress up like the characters. And I would be like, I want to be a WWE like wrestler too. And they're like, you can't do that. You weigh like 70 pounds and you're like 4'10". Because I was like a little girl, you know? And they're like, you can be the ring girl. So I like started walking around with like, and I made my mom buy like this American flag, like one-piece bathing suit so I could like walk around with like a little, like a homemade cue card that was like drawn out of like black magic marker. It was like the weirdest thing. And my mom would be like, you guys are like the weirdest kids. And my mom would call and be like, what are Carl and Kyle and Aubrey doing in the backyard? And then Carl's mom would be like, oh, they're out in the backyard pretending to be like WWE wrestlers again. And I was like, what? And I would be like, at one time I was like, Carl, it's not fair. I always play WWE. You have to play fake marriage with me today. I was like, and so one day we played fake marriage, and then Kyle, his brother, would not let him live it down like the rest of our childhood lives. He remember that one time when you had fake marriage? And it was so funny. And then so I was always being but I used to make them play with the He-Man action figures, and we would play She-Ra and stuff. But yeah. All my neighbors were dudes, so all my friends were guys. I was the only woman in in mile radius. So did you go? Oh, you cut out for a second. Oh, there you go. Okay, Billy. So yes, I've seen it live before because my cousins, when they were younger, really wanted to go see WWE live, and we got to meet Hulk Hogan, which was really cool. And my dad was laughing the whole time because he thought it was funny, but because he knew that it was all choreographed, but we just thought it was 100% real, you know. We didn't know that it wasn't, that it was choreographed, and that everybody was professional fighters and actors, and it was a whole thing that happens, and so we thought it was real, and we're like, man, he's got mad skills and all this stuff. And it was so funny, but yeah, they would never let me be the WWE wrestler girl or anything, because they'd be like, you weigh 70 pounds, you can't even climb the tree by yourself. And I'm like, I can climb the tree too! I used to I was that little kid where somebody said you weren't going to do it, I'd be like, I did it 10 times better than they expected, just so I could be like, yeah,
right,
in your face.
Right, exactly.
Exactly, yeah. But we also used to go when we were younger, we used to do this thing called Mattress Racing, which is a southern and midwestern thing where people would take a mattress and strap it to the back of a 4x4 truck, and then they drive the truck through the field, and you have to hold on to the truck and hold on to the mattress and see how long you can stay on before you fall off, because that's what they do in the country. That's fun. You know. Yeah, but I never did that. I sat in the truck and watched other people do it, but I never did that myself. So it's the southern and Midwest version of what would you, if you don't have a lake and you go water tubing, it's like that, but on land.
Oh, no. I'm just going to move my phone real quick because I have to put it on the charger.
Oh, of course.
1 second.
I hope my fans are enjoying the stories. They're a little wacky, but they're true. I feel people connect more with their fans and viewers when they're honest.
Oh, yeah. Personable. There we go. Okay. I have to move to a different part of the room. See, I got my poster of Jason now.
Oh my gosh, he was such a scary character. But you know what? Oh my god, you want to hear a story about a horror? I told you my dad and my grandpa let me watch horror films without my mom knowing. Whenever I went to go visit my grandpa, we watched. So again, I'm dating myself, but I was very young when this happened. When Friday what was it? Yeah, it was A Nightmare on Elm Street came out. And I was watching it, and then I was in the middle of it, I started crying, and I'm like, Grandpa, this is too scary. And he's like, oh, okay. So I stopped watching it, and then I went in my room that night, and I was I was sleeping, and then I heard this noise from underneath my bed, and I was and I woke up, and I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, it was just a noise. So I went to sleep, and then I heard a little bit later, I heard a scratching at the window, and I was like, what the heck is going on? And I'm like, Grandpa, somebody's in my room, and he's like, no one's in your. And I know it gets worse. This is how bad my dad was growing up. I'm like, Grandpa, someone's in my room. There's the boogeyman's in my room, and I was freaking out and crying, and I was like, I think it was like so young. I don't even know my age, but it was like really, really young, you know. And he's like, and I'm like, I think someone's in the closet. If my grandpa goes in the closet, he opens the closet open. He's like, nothing's here. He's like, okay, I'm not gonna let you watch movies like that anymore if you think somebody's in the closet. And then he's like, go to bed, you're fine. I'm like, okay. So I went to bed, and then a little bit later, like I'm like laying down, and then like I see this hand with like the Freddy Krueger glove come out and like grab my arm, and I started screaming, and I was like, ah! And I was like running and screaming through like the, and I was like running through the house, and I'm like, Grandpa, Freddy Krueger's in my bedroom. And my grandpa's like, Freddy Krueger's not in your bedroom. And he's like, Freddy Krueger's in my bed. And I'm like, Freddy Krueger's in my bedroom. And he's like, no, he's not. And like, and my grandpa was like, got up from his bed and walked me back to my room. And he's like, go to sleep. It's just a movie, you know. And then my grandpa did the Freddy Krueger's there. And he goes, why are you worrying about Freddy Krueger when the werewolf watches you through your window at night?
No.
I know. And then I found out, like, a couple years later that my dad admitted to me that it was him with a glove on that was doing it to me the whole time. Because he thought it was so funny. I was like, that's so messed up.
That's horrible.
But it is funny.
That's horrible.
It's kind of funny, but now that I think about it, now that I'm older, it's funny, but like when I was younger.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it wasn't.
But it was hilarious. But yeah, that's my scary movie story.
Now, speaking of scary movies and horror, let's talk about the horror short that you were in, Dead Ant.
It's a film. A full feature film. Yeah. My film won the Screenfest LA Best Horror Comedy
That is so
Award.
awesome. Nice.
Yeah, I was in it, and there was it was also Sean Astin and like a whole other, like, yeah, and Tom Arnold, and then Tom Arnold both his hands. It's so funny. And it's like, it's a horror film, but it's like, it's hilarious at the same time. So it's like, it makes, it's a wide audience range. But I wouldn't recommend it for kids because like the classic opening scene is like a completely naked person, like running. My friend Courtney, who's also an actress, she's just like completely naked running across the screen. And when I saw that, I was like, maybe it was a little too much nakedness because it was like a full body of naked. It wasn't like, I mean, I watched it and I was like, you know, and I'm like, okay. And then of course it segued into like everything else being completely normal in the film, and like no nudity, and like the nudity was like the first thing in the film to like throw it in there. But it's a really great film, and I'm really excited to have been a part of it, and I feel very blessed to have worked with Ron Carlson. He's an awesome director. And yeah, so we won the Screenfest LA award, and we won a bunch of other awards too, which was exciting. And I walked the red carpet at the premiere for the Screenfest LA Awards too on opening night, which is great. And you can find videos of me on Getty. If you go to the video and you type in my name, my first and last name, you can see the video of me walking the red carpet for the Screenfest LA, which is one of the biggest horror film festivals in the U.S. and one of the biggest in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was excited about doing that. And this year I was supposed to do a film called Christmas Slasher. Oh, thank you, Billy. Congratulations. I was supposed to do a film with Nicholas Brendan from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and my Carlos Ramsey Ramirez called Christmas Slasher. And unfortunately, they didn't get the SAG-AFTRA signatory papers yet, so that's on hold. But when it does happen, I will look forward to doing the project. And so I took it off my IMDb right now because SAG has rules that if it's not signed as official signatory yet, that you can't be attached to it. Some people choose to leave their credits up for stuff like that, but I don't. So I took it down, and I took down my producer credit for it as well, because I can't be assigned to it professionally, I feel, until I have the signatory status has been granted, because it turns out it was only granted for like a partial, like for a short film version of it, and it was shot to me as a feature film, and so I took that off right now just to be professionally sound. But yeah, there's articles listing me, and I am going to do the project, but I don't feel comfortable putting it back on my IMDb until something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Okay.
Thank you, Billy. I appreciate your support.
Billy's my cousin.
That's cool. My cousin benches like 365 pounds, and he's like really into that, core fitness thing, and he's like always doing those ropes like every morning, and like he turned into like a beast. He's like beast mode, and he's always like hashtag beast mode, but he's like my cousin's like WWE beast mode. Like he could be a WWE wrestler, but he's like scary beast mode where it doesn't have like almost a match right now. And he's like, yeah, like he can bench like 365 pounds on just like his chest press, and I'm like that is like good for you, cuz, but scary.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is funny because he used to be like the really skinny one like me, and then I grew up to be like thin and tall and curvy, and he grew up to be like short but like giant muscles now. Well, I wouldn't say short. I think he's like average man height. He's like 5'8" or 5'9". I think that's average for me, actually. Or is it between 5'9" and 5'11"? I don't know. Does he shake the topes like Ultimate Warrior? What is a tope? I don't know what's a tope.
When the warrior...
Oh, no, yeah, that's what he's talking about. He does that thing every morning. Every morning, like, I see him posting on his videos, and he's like, and I'm like, how do you, like, seriously? Like, that is like, I'm probably looking ridiculous right now with my sound effects, but I'm just going to be myself, so I'll just be ridiculous. But he's like, every morning, he's like, his wife is making him paleo meal that has to be, like, perfect, moved out for him, and then he's like, in the gyms. And he's like this, and it's always like, it looks very scary to me because it's like, how do you do that? And it doesn't like rip your chest muscles apart because it's like so ridiculously weighted. And I'm thinking like, this is like and I'm used to growing up with like this little skinny boy. I'm like, oh, that's Cameron, and it's like, I was turned into this like something totally different, but. And he has like 3 kids now too, and I'm like the only one. Oh, you know what's funny is like all my friends from back home are either like pregnant and married, or like pregnant and divorced, or like just divorced, and I'm like the only one who's never done any of those things. So I feel like I'm personally winning.
Well, like at least you're doing something you love, though.
Yeah, exactly. I have time for kids later.
Yeah,
that's what I tell my mom.
Like right now, you're doing something you love, and you're trying to get like a bunch of different roles and films and series, and yeah, there's plenty of time for that.
Yeah, actually, I always joke with my mom, and I tell my mom, I was like, "Oh, Mom, I'll have a kid when I get my first Oscar."
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. And my mom was like, well, what if you get like 20 years older and that's when your Oscar comes? I'm like, oh, well, then I'll just adopt. There's plenty of children that need homes. And my mom was like, you have an answer for everything. I was like, I know, I'm a Virgo, so I've already done like my whole life plan out. Because, Virgos like to organize. Did you know that? That's one of our big things.
You've done a lot of television series. Like out of all the television series you've done, like what do you think was like the best role you had in a television series?
Oh, I just realized my mascara's running because I was laughing so hard from crying. And now I'm like, Got these like dark circles under my eyes. My favorite
Yeah,
television
like
shows. I like a lot of the shows I've been on. I'm always super grateful for being on every role I get, no matter what
okay.
the part is. And I'm not gonna lie, like some actors and say, oh, they've never worked as an extra before. That's a lie. Like you have to work as an extra to get your vouchers to
Mhm.
become a real actor. So like everyone that says that, lying. Yeah, pretty much. Even Brad Pitt was an extra at Central Casting before he was Brad Pitt. So
Oh.
yeah. And so was lots of other actors like Ava Longoria and let's see who else. Um Rami
Oh.
Malek, and he played the lead, you know, about Queen, and
Yeah,
that
that
was
was a great
amazing.
movie.
Yeah. So anybody that says they've never started their job off doing extra work is a liar. There you
Okay.
go. But yeah, no. So I'm grateful for every role I've ever done. Um, of course I don't ever put up any roles where I have never done, like I don't put up any roles before I've
Hmm.
gotten my status. Well, I have a lot of roles that I built up to that were non-union, that were creditable, and I added those ones up as well. When but yeah, so I think that my favorite role, like my favorite early role or my favorite role after I became
Well,
union
like
status.
out of all like your television shows that you've been in.
My favorite one, oh, it depends. Is it like, okay, so I had to, because I got to work with Ron Howard on his show 68
Nice.
Whiskey for Paramount Channel, and I thought that was like one of my most favorite experiences. I played a NATO officer, and I was like in the desert with guns, and like I had a flight helmet and
Nice.
everything, for my costume, and I got to play a role that I normally wouldn't get typecast as, because I normally get typecast as like the sexy girl, or like the sexy
Hmm.
funny girl, or the girl that's like sexy and wearing not that many clothes. Like, and so I got to be something completely different, that I think is really admirable, because I have a lot of love for people who are veterans, and my dad is a
Oh,
former veteran
nice.
as well, and he still, yeah, and he used to work for the government, and now my dad's like retired and owns a ranch in
Okay.
Tennessee. So he wants to ranch, yeah. Um, but I have a big support for our veterans, and so that was really something that I wanted to make sure I did the role, and that I was honorable to the role that they were portraying. And authentic, because I have a big respect for our veterans, and I think they do amazing service for this country. And that lately they've been going very
Hmm.
underappreciated, especially with the pandemic. You wouldn't even imagine how crappy their support is from our government, like how bad their veterans benefits are, or how they're giving them problems with medical testings and things like that. And so there needs to be, like, I also donate money for the Wounded
Oh, wow.
Warriors Project, and I've done work with them before. And I work with the Salvation Army. I volunteer with the Salvation Army too, and I support also people who are criminals who are rehabilitating into society. That's what Salvation Army works a lot with. And so I support their charity, and I'm one of their like celebrity ambassadors for the entertainment industry out of LA. And so I've been doing that a lot. And so that role was important to me on 68 Whiskey, because it let me honor like my dad and survivors, uh, like, who are veterans who may have come back and been a little, displaced, and had to relearn how to be in society again, and also honor the veterans that are current, and the current service members that are also over in Afghanistan still, because in the show the base is based in Afghanistan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Shot that in We shot that in Santa Clarita, and it was a completely built out set just for the show. And I like got to be in a helicopter and like all this cool stuff. And I just remember thinking, like, you know, somebody always told me that I would never get to do this role because I get typecasted. And then I found out, like, all I need to do that role is to just not wear any makeup and then look like naturally, you know, nice looking, but still look like believable as I'm gonna kick your butt, you know. And I was really excited to do that. So that was a very special role to me. And one of my other favorite shows I worked on was Why Women Kill with Lucy Liu. And I just found her to be inspirational. And she was just a joy and a pleasure to work with. And she was also directing and producing the episodes as well, too, a lot of them. And so she was one of the executive producers, and it was her and CBS and other people that were in charge of the castings. And so, like, I was casted by her, and that's very special because to me that signifies, you know, that like that she found me to be of a good quality to be on her show. And so I was excited. And I felt really honored by that. And I had such a lovely time working on it. She's so fun to work with, and the rest of the cast and crew were great, and the makeup artist is great. I worked with him on an HBO show before, so it was fun to see him again. And the AD, one of the ADs, he's Scottish, and he was like one of the funniest people ever, and such a pleasure to work with because he was very good at his job. And it was working with him was very easy, and he was good at giving direction when he wanted the scene to look an exact certain way. You know, and I think it's very important to have good directors and good ADs. Like in Marvel, I had an amazing AD. He was so nice and easy to work with and friendly. And when you have good directors and good ADs and good producers, the project gets done really fast, and it's not stressful, and it's fun, and you know, it's really easy to do your job. And then, like, not only that is, it's just inspiring to be picked by, you know, like A-list actors, exactly. You know, to be in their projects and their shows, and A-list directors. Like, I mean, I cried when I found out I got booked by Ron Howard.
He's awesome.
I know that sounds funny, but he's just amazing and a pleasure to work with, and uberly talented. Like, I'm just so flattered to have been chosen to be in any part in his project. Was just so honoring for me, and I'm so excited.
Nice. Yeah, he's really awesome.
And I have all these photos from the wardrobe stylist that he sent me. He was a former vet too, and he's an Emmy-winning wardrobe stylist. He also did the Sons of Anarchy for their wardrobe. And Lucy Liu had an Emmy award-winning wardrobe stylist too, who also won like multiple Emmys for different projects that he worked on as well, and two different guys. And they were both like amazing and fun and super friendly, really professional. So I was excited.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
I know. I'm just, you know, I keep thankfulness for his favor, and you know, for the fact that people see something special in me that sets me apart from others to be booked for the role, and I'm very grateful for that. You know, very flattering.
Exactly. So what?
I try to stay humble. That's why I'm not like I'm being very like, you know, like blasé about it, you know, but I you know, I do get really excited when I think about it still, because it is exciting.
So like, what's coming up next for you? Like, I know you're not allowed to talk about a certain one, but is there anything coming up that you're allowed to talk about?
Well, yeah, I shot an episode of Dave on Monday. It's the comedy show for FX, and it's bought by Disney. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be coming out. But I can't tell you what my role was or what it is in the show. And then I have my video game coming out, and then I have the other project that I can't talk about because of the NDA. But that's pretty cool. And and it has a lot of up and coming actors in it, and it's produced by a really great comedian who's very famous, so you guys will like it. I get booked on a lot of comedy shows.
Nice.
I like doing comedy.
Oh yeah, of course. Nice. Well,
and I also am working on I'm cutting a new album track because I write. Yeah, I'm a member of the Society of Composers and Lyricists. It's the film scoring guild. So I write lyrics. I write lyrics for film scores, and I also like do vocals for them. And yeah, I told you I used to have a band. Like, I used to have a couple bands. So, like, people thought they could live out here and survive without another job when they first got here. Like, they thought they were going to become instantly famous. So I had to keep replacing band members. But I think that's like a common thing that happens to like everybody.
That's true.
So, am I gonna try out for WWE? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a reality TV person. I think that is that considered reality TV? But it's scripted though. I'm not sure. Is that technically, is it acting or is it reality? It's not really reality because it's all.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's scripted, like it's acting, but that, I mean, you do have to learn how to take like the falls and the bumps, and you have to learn how to wrestle.
Have one match or something. You remember that clay animation series called Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yes, I love that show. I love that show. It was so bloody.
Would I have a WWE wrestling match? Who would fight me? I only weigh 110 pounds. I don't know. I'm 5'7" and 110 pounds. Would it be like me and another waif model fighting? That was my exact weight and height. And then we would just be like slapping each other. It would be like a slap fight. Like who could survive so many slaps? I'm like, I mean, I have some guys like, ooh, look at that muscle. Yeah, look at, flexing. Look at that. Have you gone to the beach? No. This girl has not worked out at the beach. I can tell you that much. I was like, you versus Stephanie McMahon. Who's Stephanie? Isn't she like really? Isn't she a lot larger than
she's
me?
Pretty tall.
Yeah,
that's Vince's daughter. Vince McMahon, the owner.
He's still doing the voice for WWE. Oh my God, he's like a legend. He just keeps going and going and going. I thought he retired in like the 90s or something. Vince McMahon runs it. Isn't she like 4 or 5 inches? I'm 5'7". How tall is she?
I don't know. I know she's pretty tall.
She's like, it's not fair if she has like a height advantage and a body weight advantage. Like it has to be. That'd be like somebody being a lightweight contender and being like, well, you have to fight a medium weight contender because we ran out of lightweights.
And plus she's been in it.
No, I'm not a fighter. Can we do a trivia match? I do like. I need my face. It makes me work. No, I don't know. I could do like a trivia match or like something like, maybe we could do like, it's her high heels, you can take her on.
Oh my God.
So she's not really like 6 foot tall. How does she do? Is she really a wrestler? Is she a wrestler? I don't know.
She has wrestled, yeah. She has wrestled.
That's crazy. I can't believe he let his daughter do that. Like, but he probably had, but it's all like, she probably had stunt training and stuff too, because don't they do like stunt trainers and they have them come in? That's how they learn the wrestling. You can always put her on an arm bar. What's an arm bar?
Grab your arm and twist it around and stuff like that.
Oh, really? My dad said in the military they call it a four. Could you make a four around somebody's neck? But that's not used for detaining somebody. That's used for something else. Because I know my brother used to be like, "What's that move called? What's that move called?" And so an arm bar is just like where it's like a fake, like a thing. Oh, you know what would be super cool is I would be willing to take like WWE wrestling training from like The Rock.
Okay, there you go.
Could you imagine me? It'd be like me and like Nicole Richie. Because we have like the same body types. And then we could have like Dwayne The Rock Johnson train me, and then like John Cena could train like Nicole Richie, and then be like, now go, and be like a celebrity special, and then we'd both be out in the middle of the ring, and then we'd be like, no. It would be so funny. It'd be like ridiculous but funny. This is going to be a very interesting interview because you said you were going to put it on.
It's great though. It's fun. I love it. But I probably
the longest of videos on your side.
I'm probably gonna have to ask like the last question because the Instagram live just
no worries.
The Instagram live just had a thing come up.
We've hit a long range of spectrum. It's definitely an interesting interview. I don't think it had anything to do with really any of the pre-questions you sent me. I think we got like 4 of them in there, but like out of all these pages, like 4 of them were the questions related to some of the questions that were originally put on the questionnaire. So it's like funny.
Okay, well,
great.
Just
right.
wanted to end it on where can fans find you at, like your pages, your social media, if you have a site or anything.
Okay, awesome. So you can find me on Instagram at Amber_Martinez_official. There's only one me. There's no other me. And then on Twitter, I'm at 2 underscores Amber with a capital A and Martinez with a capital M. And you can find me on my website at amber-martinez.com. And my Facebook is facebook.com/the official Amber Martinez. And my YouTube channel is just called Amber Martinez, and it's been there since 2009, I think. Yeah,
Sweet,
2009.
Sweet, nice.
It's a long time. Oh, no, 2011. Facebook's 2009. YouTube is 2011. And you can also find me on IMDb on imdb.me/Amber Martinez, or you guys can check out my programs on Amazon Prime. It's available. Or Blu-ray.com. You can see some of my films that are available on Blu-ray, and like I guess they have 365 other release versions. So I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to my new projects. And I had a wonderful time being on the Grue show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So thank you.
Thank you. It was so much fun. I really appreciate it. I know my cousin Billy loved talking to you.
Oh, Billy loved it. Thank you, Billy. I loved it too. Oh, DJ Steve Pryor joined too. Yeah, there's been a lot of joins, but I've been looking at the questions and then looking at you and trying to do the whole thing all together.
All right, just want to say have a good night and a good weekend.
Thank you, you too, and I look forward to seeing this broadcast and see what it looks like. And reaching out to more fans. You guys can find me also on Cameo if you ever want a custom personalized message at cameo.com/Amber_Martinez.
Nice.
And Valentine's Day is coming up, and I will do sexy voice messages if you want.
Okay, there you go. Valentine's Day is coming up, and she's the one to hire.
Oh my Lord, that's what my mom would say. Well, thanks for taking the time, and I enjoyed myself.
I had so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Bye.
Bye
Have a
now.
good one.
Mwah.